people might know, it's coming up to 10 years since they changed the Marriage Act in Australia. To change the Marriage Act to say that marriage should only be an institution between a man and a woman to the exclusion of all others. And I think it's a really great time to come out and protest and to have your first rally in Shepparton, particularly considering we again have a Liberal government, and it was the Liberals that changed the Marriage Act back in 2004. We again see Tony Abbott being absolutely and utterly disgraceful and homophobic, particularly with the same-sex marriage laws that got changed in the ACT recently. And now he's taking it to a High Court challenge, basically before people even get the opportunity to marry their loved ones. I think it's fantastic that we're seeing more and more equal love groups popping up around the country, and that there's rallies like this happening all the time in smaller towns and rural areas, because the reality is it's in the rural areas where people face the brunt of a lot of the discrimination that we face in our day-to-day lives.
I think really the Greens have been more of a vehicle for a very, very large group of community advocates. We've been, I suppose, a political voice for a great number of advocates in the community who have been standing up for marriage equality for decades. We've been the only party to stand up for marriage equality right from our very get-go. All of our politicians support marriage equality regardless, and that's something that I'm very, very proud of as a Greens member and past Greens candidate. We're talking about 65% of the population that are supportive of marriage equality. Now, Australia has come a very, very long way to be in this position, and I think, we've still got a long way to go, but I think we do need to recognise where we are today, in that we've got massive, massive community support for marriage equality. So where are we at today? And Ali was certainly talking about the fact that we're now under an Abbott government, and it certainly seems as though we've gone back decades and decades, even maybe a century, in where we were even a year ago, even a few months ago, when it comes to making marriage equality happen. This is a man who has described marriage equality as the fashion of the day. And I can tell you now that I know full well that this is not the fashion of the day. This has been something that's been happening for quite a long time. This has been a movement that has been going on for decades.
It's no mistake to me that we're actually in Shepparton today and we're not in the inner city centre of Melbourne. It's no mistake why I went up to Mount Isa for their marriage equality rally in Queensland, or that I went up to the border to Albury for theirs, and that now I'm here in Shepparton. Because country Australia provides us with the best opportunity, the greatest opportunity for change when it comes to marriage equality that we currently have. Most people overestimate homophobia and the power that it has over our everyday lives. And then most people underestimate what it is that they and the people around them can do to stand up to the homophobia that they're facing in their communities. Now, I know people throw around community and they might say, well, why is it that you mention community, and why is building community around this issue important? I've been to all parts of the country, every state and territory, to talk about these issues. And I can tell you that there are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and intersex people in every nook and cranny of our great country. They're living, they're thriving and they're surviving. However, the difference between whether or not they survive or thrive depends on community, depends on their connectedness, depends on the people around them who support them. And so by being here today, we're helping build that community that's going to lead to that support. Every single country place that I've been to will talk about two issues. They'll talk about being worried about rural youth suicide, and or they're worried about young people not being able to be themselves and leaving their country communities to go up to the big smoke, feeling that they can't stay in their own town.
One of the most frustrating times of my life was mid-2011. I was standing on the corner of Swanston and Burke Streets in the Melbourne CBD. I wanted to cross the road, but I couldn't. A marriage equality protest was slowly walking past, blocking my path in the street, and that I couldn't cross the road wasn't the frustrating part. It was that I knew I should have been walking with them, but couldn't due to the closet that I was deep inside. My feelings and attitudes to the numerous marriage equality rallies differ to those of most people. Like most in our rainbow community, I support marriage equality for everyone, not just the G and L in GLBTQI. One of my aims in attending the marriage equality rallies, however, isn't to achieve marriage equality, it's to achieve equality. I think this is where a lot of people, both in our rainbow community and wider society, don't understand the impact of these rallies. It's not about me or you, any single one of us, or any loving couple. It's all about us as a whole. This is why I go to marriage equality rallies, not for marriage, but to send a loud message to those people who can't join us today. You are not alone. You will be accepted. We will support you when life gets better. So as far as marriage equality goes, I have a very simple quote from The Matrix. Now this sort of works because the character that said it was played by Hugo Weaving, who also played the main fabulous character in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. And this will be a horrible American accent, but I'll paraphrase it just a little. Hear that, Mr. Abbott? That is the sound of inevitability. I'm sure we'll get marriage equality, it's just a matter of time. But during the fight, we'll continue to have opportunities to do more than just push politicians to treat everyone as equals. So next time you're stopping people crossing the road because your fabulous placard is blocking the way, think about the bigger picture. Think about those who can't join us just yet and how you could further help create the environment they need to be who they really are. Thank you.
Thank you, Kieran.